drive your car tonight, Mr. Balfour?
Well?
From the craziest adult scenes to the use of narcotics and hard drugs, The Wolf of Wall Street is a story filled with greed, power, and excess. Despite the fact that the movie is based on an incredibly outrageous true-life story, some of the behind-the-scenes events might shock you. In this video, we will explore the production history from casting to writing, behind-the-scenes details of the massively successful movie The Wolf of Wall Street. The actor responsible for The Wolf of Wall Street is named Tommy Chong. Before the movie was produced, Jordan Belfort and Chong shared a cell while they were both serving jail time in the same Californian facility. Belfort told him tales from his time working on Wall Street, and Chong urged him to compile these tales into a memoir, ultimately serving as the inspiration for the film.
$1,000 for one fucking dinner!
Despite the fact that the movie may not be quite as intense as Belfort's memoir, things could have been far worse. According to the memoir, Belfort was someone who formerly used 22 different substances and was sentenced to prison for fraud. One of The Wolf of Wall Street's most famous moments is Matthew McConaughey's character humming and hitting his chest, which wasn't part of the original script. In reality, McConaughey does this scene rehearsal procedure before each take. In his Twitter-based series, McConaughey claimed that Scorsese chose to include it in the film after Leonardo DiCaprio recommended it. DiCaprio suggests that even though it was only the second week of filming, it created the tone for the remaining parts of the shoot. It is generally known that Martin Scorsese encourages his actors to get creative. Many scenes in Wolf of Wall Street were mostly unplanned, which is what gave Goodfellas its unique effort.
$60K, something like that? Here.
The scene where Jordan is attempting to leave the country club as the Quaaludes start to take effect was completely made up during filming that day. Jordan opening the car door with his foot was DiCaprio's idea, but it could only be used once because he hurt his foot in the process. Interestingly, Belfort used genuine identities when creating his personal story. However, most of the names were changed for the movie, due to the fact that some people understandably did not want their names attached to the story. Scorsese was given considerable freedom in his work. Despite the fact that Danny Perush made a legal threat that his name was used, the character Donnie Azoff, played by Jonah Hill, is not actually based on an actual person. Strangely, Hill appeared as a fictional representation of a real character in Moneyball. According to an interview with Margot Robbie, Scorsese didn't force her to be undressed in the movie. In fact, during the iconic scene, Scorsese gave her the choice of wearing a bathrobe. Since using Naomi's body as a weapon fit Naomi's persona, Robbie insisted on acting without clothes.
What's wrong, Daddy?
Before filming the sequence, Robbie drank 3 shots of tequila to loosen up. She initially lied to her loved ones, telling them that her appearance was a body double, but when the film was out, she changed her story. In one scene, Robbie was tense as she acted out a scene with DiCaprio in the presence of Scorsese, using a daring amount of creativity.
He said even if you don't get convicted, I've got a good chance.
Instead of just arguing with her co-star as the script instructed, Robbie took things a step further and accidentally slapped DiCaprio in the face, and that isn't even mentioned in the script. She froze when the room got silent. She even thought that decision will cost her, but she was even awarded for it. She secured her role in The Wolf of Wall Street on their initial encounter, according to Scorsese, by running off and delivering Leonardo DiCaprio a thunderclap slap on the face. In the movie, Belfort and his friends are heavy drinkers and cocaine users. After all, they were Wall Street professionals. There's a need for them to loosen up a bit. For the snorting scenes, vitamin D powder was used while filming. As a matter of fact, it wasn't without health dangers. In fact, all the vitamin D sniffing caused Hill to develop bronchitis. On the brighter side, he didn't have to worry about rickets. One notable scene in the movie is the scene between Margot Robbie and Leo. The pain Margot Robbie experienced while filming the famous adult scene on a pile of cash is an ideal instance of how uncomfortable adult scenes can be. Apparently, she got 1 million paper cuts on her back from all that money. In the movie, Donnie humiliates Bowtie in front of everyone by eating the goldfish after he witnesses one of his co-workers cleaning his goldfish dish rather than completing deals.
Fucking do it today! This is what you do!
Hill was committed to his profession and insisted on having a real goldfish eaten in the scene. However, he was unable to do that due to restrictions on animal abuse in movies. Instead, Hill was only permitted to hold the goldfish in his mouth for 3 seconds while animal handlers were present. The Wolf of Wall Street is based on a true story, which may or may not be surprising. Belfort created his book after serving jail time for a variety of frauds and other crimes. He was used as a motivational speaker at the end of the movie. Speaking of the real Belfort, he shows up in the final act as the one who introduces his fake twin. Come to think of it, it's one thing to purchase a man's life story and use it as a starting point for a film that primarily criticizes his way of life.
Telephones. I'm gonna let you on a little secret about these telephones.
It's another thing to actually include him in the movie. In the opening part of the memoir, Jordan Belfort claims that he used an insane amount of drugs every day. He boasts about taking Adderall, Xanax, marijuana, cocaine, morphine, and 10 Quaaludes daily. It is easy to overlook one minor point, since the number of narcotics Belfort claims to using will shock the audience. In 1996, 7 years after Jordan founded his business and 4 years after he was charged with a crime, Adderall became commercially available. The producers decided to add it to the drugs he was using in the movie. It is a little surprising why Jordan was taking Adderall in the first place, given that it's used to treat narcolepsy and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. In one scene, Donnie insults Brad's wife. This leads to a heated disagreement between the two. Brad then delivers a firm right punch to knock Donnie to the ground. Martin Scorsese wasn't pleased with the fake punch that the actor playing Brad, John Bernthal, launched at his co-star Jonah Hill during filming. The actor was instructed to really hit Hill after numerous takes by the director. Hill was afraid of being hit in the face because Bernthal boxes in his spare time. Hill acknowledged that it was one of his favorite roles he had ever played after they had finished filming the scene. Hill's artificial teeth were knocked out of his mouth, so the shot ended as soon as Bernthal punched his co-star. Donnie first meets Naomi, who would eventually become Jordan Belfort's wife, and is so impressed by how gorgeous she is that despite the fact that he's in the middle of a party, he starts jerking off right away. Since viewers only get a brief glimpse of Donnie's genitals, they have long debated whether it is real or not. It is easy to imagine that Jonah Hill really pulled out his private part for this scene, given that he totally embraced the crazy antics of Donnie and the movie features a lot of nudity. Although it appears to be Donnie's genitals in this scenario, it is just fake. Even though Martin Scorsese has been making revolutionary movies for the past 50 years, that doesn't make him perfect. After filming the sequence in the flight, the director realized he had neglected to include a shot showing the "Fasten Your Seatbelt" sign. Initially, Scorsese was concerned that he would need to construct a jet set for a 2-second shot in order to maintain continuity. Fortunately, one of his superiors persuaded him to utilize a segment from a video about flying safety. When Scorsese discovered the clip on his colleague's iPhone, he decided to use that instead after stating that it was okay. This is the first time Scorsese will ever use footage from an iPhone in any of his movies. You most likely missed the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio's feet are wet in one of the adult scenes. During the scenario, Naomi's dog jumps into the bed and starts licking Jordan's feet. In order to get the dog to jump onto the bed for the camera, Martin Scorsese encouraged the little mutt to climb onto the bed by stuffing dog food and chicken liver between DiCaprio's toes. As a result, Scorsese was able to maintain this incredibly important part of the movie. And that sums up the events that happened behind the scenes. So, which of these facts caught you by surprise? We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section. Also, feel free to leave a remark if you have any recommendations for videos. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks once again.
Fucking cunt.